How's it going, everyone? My name is Jackson and thank you for switching to Jackson. I'm just going to come out and say it. The Nintendo Switch 2 is easily the best value gaming console you can buy in 2026. A year ago, I don't think many people would have agreed with that statement. The launch lineup was criticised, people said there weren't enough games, some even questioned whether third-party developers would support the Switch 2. And then there was the price, which was controversial at the time. And boy, if only we knew what was around the corner regarding gaming and prices. Fast forward to today, and the conversation has completely changed, especially after this week, and the unforgivable price increase Microsoft announced with the Xbox Series consoles. And when you've got other gaming hardware creeping around or even beyond the £600 mark, and a newly released Steam machine costing close to £1,000, the Switch 2 sitting pretty at around £400 to £425 suddenly looks like an absolute bargain. And that price that I just mentioned is factoring in the reported increase coming in September. And honestly, I think Nintendo are about to have a huge holiday season and will blow the competition out of the water with their hardware sales. But before I continue glazing Nintendo too much, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and engage with this video. It genuinely makes a huge difference and I'll love you forever. Now let's look at why I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is the best value gaming console you can buy in 2026. Number 1. Nobody does first party games quite like Nintendo. The first few months of the Switch 2 were admittedly a little quiet, but now
banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after banger.
The library is becoming seriously impressive. In the last year or so, we've already had Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Splatoon Raiders, Kirby Air Riders, Pokemon Pokopia, Pokemon Legends ZA, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, Star Fox, Yoshi, and much more. And there are still more huge exclusives expected before the end of the year. Fire Emblem, From Software's The Dusk Bloods, and perhaps the biggest one of all, if they can hit the release window, the greatest game of all time remade, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. That old joke that Switch 2 has no games has disappeared remarkably quickly, and props to Nintendo for quietly going about their business whilst the competition crashes and burns. And looking beyond 2026, you just know Nintendo has another excellent 3D Mario waiting in the wings, another Animal Crossing, the next generation of mainline Pokemon already slated for 2027, and countless more games from new and beloved first-party IPs, which will be coming your way in the years to come. This console is only just getting started, and now is a great time to jump on board. Number 2. Backwards compatibility makes it incredible value. The original Switch sold over 150 million systems, and is the second best selling games console of all time, behind the PlayStation 2. Millions of people already own huge physical and digital libraries, and instead of making everyone start again, Nintendo brought almost everything forward. That means the majority of your Switch library follows you onto the Switch 2, but it gets even better. Many games now have Switch 2 editions or free performance updates. Juggernauts like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Animal Crossing, they all look and play better than ever. They've got higher frame rates, sharper visuals, faster loading, and sometimes entirely new content. Instead of replacing your old library, Nintendo has actually made it better, and in some cases really refined and changed the original experience. And it's not just the software that's transitioned over to the Switch 2. Many Switch 1 controllers and accessories continue to work. In fact, my original Pro controller still gets used constantly for multiplayer and co-op. Little decisions like this saves players money, and that's what this whole video is about, value for your buck. Number 3. Third-party support has exceeded expectations. This was probably the biggest question before launch. Could Switch 2 actually run modern games? And the answer has been a very convincing yes. Publishers like Ubisoft, Capcom, Square Enix and many others have shown up in force. The library now includes huge releases like Resident Evil, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, Hades 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Silksong, EA Sports FC, NBA 2K, Fortnite and plenty more. And even bigger announcements continue to arrive. Just recently we had the news that Kingdom Hearts 4 and the next Final Fantasy games will both be on the Switch 2 day and date. And who knows, maybe one day we'll even see GTA 6. I know it sounds ambitious, but considering what developers have already achieved on the hardware, I certainly wouldn't rule anything out. Especially as Rockstar has made a compatible Xbox Series S version for launch, and the Switch 2 has been proven via the likes of Digital Foundry to match or sometimes deliver better performance than the Series S is capable of. Number 4. Nintendo Switch Online is ridiculous value. Can we all just appreciate this for a second? Nintendo Switch Online starts at less than £20 for an entire year. And that's right guys, you heard me, less than £20 for an annual subscription. And then you've got the retro games through the NSO libraries. You've got the NES, the SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, and of course the GameCube. And let's not forget Sega Genesis either. The GameCube rollout has definitely been slower than I'd like, but nearly every game added so far has been a classic. And at this point the Switch 2 is basically a nostalgia machine that just keeps growing, as Nintendo have proved time and time again with all the other NSO catalogues, as they continue to receive more games every month. But of course, Nintendo Switch 2 is much more than just nostalgia. Number 5. Family-friendly gaming still matters. This point doesn't get talked about enough. Nintendo has always been the easiest platform to recommend to families, and parental controls are excellent. Sure, friend codes might annoy adults, but they also make it much harder for children to receive unwanted messages from strangers. And let's be honest, there's some absolute creeps out there. Combined with Nintendo's catalogue of family-friendly games, it's probably the safest ecosystem in gaming, and this is a really big deal, especially when Western governments are putting more and more restrictions on young people accessing social media and some parts of online gaming. And as a parent myself, I know I would rather my daughter play on the Switch 2 than any other platform. And number 6. Hybrid gaming still has no equal. This remains Nintendo's biggest asset. Being able to play the exact same game on your TV, then pick it up and continue in handheld mode. It still feels brilliant and original. We've seen lots of handheld competition recently, what with the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, PlayStation Portal, and Xbox's handheld partnerships. But Nintendo has something the others don't, and that is that everything just works out of the box. No tweaking, no graphics settings, no Windows updates, no compatibility headaches. You just dock it, undock it, and carry on playing. It's gaming at its simplest and best. And for around £400, that's exceptional value in 2026. Yeah, there are some players out there that want the ability to customise their settings or operating systems, but for your average Joe that doesn't care about all that, the Switch 2 has them all beat. So in summary, is the Nintendo Switch 2 the most powerful console on the market? Of course not. That goes to PlayStation 5 Pro. But when you combine a fantastic and growing first-party library, excellent third-party support, backwards compatibility, affordable online services, hybrid gaming, family-friendly features, and a price that's hundreds of pounds cheaper now than the competing devices, I genuinely think that the Nintendo Switch 2 offers the best overall value in gaming today. And please prove me wrong if you disagree. Could GTA 6 arriving elsewhere first change some people's minds? Well, of course it can. It's an absolute beast of a title. But don't worry guys, I honestly think GTA 6 will have a Switch 2 port in 2027. But for anyone looking to buy a games console this Christmas, or are thinking about upgrading from the original Switch, I honestly think it's one of the easiest recommendations you can make in gaming right now, and I don't think you would regret it. But that's all I've got for this video. Do you agree that the Nintendo Switch 2 is the best value gaming console in 2026? Or is there another console or handheld that deserves that title? Let me know in the comments and let's discuss. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and check out some of my other content on the way out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.